Hey everybody, today I'm making a video about how to assemble the Forno Venetzia Torino 500 pizza oven. And the reason I'm doing it, I looked online and there wasn't a whole lot online. I didn't see any videos, so I figured I could struggle a little bit with it and hopefully make it easier for somebody else. So let's get started here. When you're unpacking the oven, there's a lot of pieces, a lot of styrofoam, a lot of trash, so make sure you have room to work with so you can spread everything out and you can identify which pieces need to go where. Okay, now we're going to start assembling the oven. We've unpacked it, taken off all the laser tape, which took about an hour for everything. First step, the instructions say to put the wheels on. One thing I noticed on the instructions, it says to use the M6x16 screws, but those aren't going to fit. It's going to be the bigger ones. The M16s won't fit. They're definitely not the right size. So I'm going to put these on. Tom, go ahead. 4 in each, Tom. Okay, now we are attaching the wheel assemblies to these things are called the legs. This is upside down right now, so you just kind of align them. Put the camera on. Looks like they go underneath. And I'm going to put the screws in. And the one thing they say is make sure the swivels are on the right. So when we flip this over, the stainless steel side is the front of the oven. Should be the right. Hopefully we'll get that right. This is where I'm going to do them by hand because I do not want to strip them.
What does stripping mean?
Cross the threads. Put this in. Looks like the bolts line up, the holes line up. We'll attach it. Okay, let's put in 4 screws. So now we're going to put the top shelf in. The slide out goes to the right through this channel here, so you can pull it up a little bit. It's going to align with these screws. And you can see the shelf is going to align that way. Okay, so I'm going to. It's got another 5 bolts on each, 5 nuts on each side. Okay. So the top shelf, it's got the same 5 screws that go on each shelf, but there's really not much room to work in here, so it's a little trickier than the other ones. So I'm going to try and get them in there by hand. So on the top shelf, since you don't have much access, this thing actually works. This wrench that they provide, it's got one that's got a rounded head on it. You can kind of get it at an angle. And you can run them almost all the way in and then tighten them, finish them by hand with this thing. I've been using a little hex head that's got a little ratchet attachment, which makes it very easy for most of them. But this one, I don't have enough room to get in there, so this tool actually came in handy. I usually don't use these tools, but with the sliding shelf here, it says to attach the sliding shelf to the housing with the hexagon screws provided. This is a standard, like a drawer slider. All it did is slid right in, popped in. I didn't screw anything in, so I don't know what those instructions are about. Closes, it's in. Nice and tight, so no screwing involved at all. Yeah, we realized once we got everything put together, we went to roll it and the wheels were getting jammed up. And what happened is the directions don't get real specific on the which side is on which, but when you're putting the first shelf on, make sure the gaps here and the gaps here and the gaps here are the exact same, because what happened is when the wheel swiveled in this small area, it would hit on the edge and it would stop, like put a brake on. So we should have caught it, but it didn't really say one way or another. We just kind of put it together. It looked fine, but just know that the shelf has to match this opening here and you'll be fine. So we had to kind of take it apart after the fact, but it's going back together pretty simple. So now that we've got the wheel right, now it spins freely. Before it would spin halfway and hit and hit. Like I said, we should have caught that before, we didn't, so just so you make you aware of it. So this will steer fine now. Okay, the last part, we needed 4 guys to lift this. Made it really simple with 4 people, 2 people. I think you're gonna struggle, you might drop it. It was a piece of cake with 4. You have to line up these corners with this corner and this corner. And then there's bolts, these 4 bolts go in underneath. I did the other 2, and I'm gonna do these. I'm gonna see, hopefully these line up. The other one's lined up perfect, but this one looks like it might be a little off.
And then when doing it, you want to chalk the tires.
Oh yeah, good call. So one of the last parts is gonna be the tool rack here. It's got 4 of these plastic handle things. It's got the white washer. You put the washer behind it so it doesn't scratch. When you can move it up and down, it's adjustable. I'm just gonna put it in finger tight right now and just kind of leave it. Okay, the last part is the chimney. This is the easiest part. Take the plastic coating on it. That's like this. Slips in. Slips in. That's it. Got to put together. This will be our first fire in the Forno Venetzia Torino 500. So I stacked some logs across and then upper, and then put some kindling in and some I balled up some paper bags that hopefully it'll start and get going. Overall, the assembly of the pizza oven was fairly simple and straightforward. I highly recommend having a helper or 2. And the materials were of very high quality. I was impressed with that. Packaging was very good. Nothing was damaged. And I'm really happy with the final product. So I wish you good luck with yours.